Stealth games are supposed to make us feel like a genius, whether it's slipping through cracks, outsmarting enemies, and pulling off moves that'll make you think, maybe I can sneak into Area 51. But then there are games that completely miss the point. Games that make you feel less like a master spy and more like a random guy hiding in a dumpster. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, the worst stealth games ever made. And what better way to start off the suffering than our first entry on this list? Now, when you think of a vampire game, the first thing that comes to mind might be something epic, right? I mean, you got fangs, blood, dark castles, maybe a little bit of romance. Well, forget about all that, because Vampire Rain is here to ruin everything that you love about stealth and vampires. Released in 2007, Vampire Rain was supposed to be the kid of Metal Gear Solid and Blade, which sounds amazing. Just look at how cool this box art looks. I remember seeing this in stores when I was like 12 and thinking that it had to be the coolest game ever. But instead we got something that feels more along the lines of sneaking through the Spirit Halloween store on clearance week. The idea is simple. You're sneaking through a city infested with vampires. But the catch is if they see you, you die instantly. No second chances, no slow-mo escape, just bam and you're dead. The AI is interesting because sometimes they have the literal nose of a bloodhound and can smell you through walls, and other times they're just vibing. They could care less about you or your objectives. The game punishes you for just trying to have fun. The developers might as well have just said, oh, you wanted to sneak? Well, too bad, because we gave these vamps 20/20 vision and zero chill. Stealth is supposed to make you feel clever, but here just makes you feel like the kid that forgot deodorant at gym class. Awkward, exposed, and just waiting to be judged. Vampire Rain isn't just a bad stealth game, it's a life lesson. It's a reminder that not all vampires are sexy, and not all stealth games are worth playing.
Hearken, loyal subjects and sycophants alike, for I, your sovereign, hath descended from mine august throne to speak of a most grievous offense in the realm of gaming. A game most foul hath darkened my chambers. A work so absurd it defies even the most cunning of travelers. I speak, of course, of Sneak King. From the moment I donned the garnished crown of yon burgher monarch, I knew despair. A king, a true king, should command legions, conquer lands, and wield steel glimmering in the sunlight. Yet here I am reduced to skulking in bushes, bearing no sword, no shield, but cursed instead with a tray of sultry dinner sandwiches. What manner of sorcery is this, that the king of burghers should stoop so low as to ambush common peasants like some deranged jester? The gameplay, if it could be called such, is a wretched thing. Shall I skulk behind barrels waiting to pounce with mine whopper? Lo, I crouch as a cat preparing to strike, yet my prey is neither noble steed or treacherous foe, but a hungry townsfolk who are inexplainably blind to my enormous plastic visage. Is this a stealth game or some cruel jest played upon mine house? Where is the option to burn this wretched game in the fires of Hades?
Another game that should be cast into the Shadowlands is Sniper Ghost Warrior. Sniper games and stealth are supposed to go together like cheese and noodles, right? Well, Ghost Warrior just said, nah. Let's make it impossible to tell when you're actually being spotted. You'll sneak through tall grass, lining up the perfect shot, and then, oh no, alerted enemies swarm you out of nowhere. Enemies have the eyesight of an eagle with binoculars, but only when it's inconvenient for you. Crawl 2 feet into the grass, you're invisible. Move 1 inch to the left, and then boom, you're suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree on fire. Oh, and the gunplay? You would think a game with the word sniper in the title would nail the mechanics of, you know, sniping. But some shots feel like they were fired out of a potato cannon because the bullet physics are so inconsistent. 1 second you'll hit a perfect headshot, then the next shot you fire will completely miss the target altogether. Makes you feel less like a ghost warrior and more like some random guy with a hunting rifle. But the missions are where things really start to go off the rails. The game gives you stealth objectives, but then punishes you for following them. It'll have scripted explosions and then waves of enemies all within a stealth level, which just kind of kills the point of being stealthy. Why do I need to be sneaky if you're just gonna make something explode and then all of a sudden all of the bad guys will automatically know exactly where I'm at? Feels like the developers couldn't decide between stealth and action, so they just put both of them into a bowl and mixed them together, slid it into the oven, hit broil, and then forgot about it.
Hello, casual viewing peers. It's me again, Ronnie, with one N, just one of them. So let's talk about Lord of the Rings Gollum, a stealth game, allegedly. Calling this a stealth game is like calling Gollum a well-adjusted individual. Technically accurate in some parallel universe, but here, not so much. Now, the premise is fascinating. You are, in fact, Gollum, creeping around in Middle-earth using your wits. Except instead of being clever or sneaky, you spend most of your time walking, crawling, and occasionally dying because you didn't exactly land where the game wanted you to. The developers might as well have said, hey, let's make a stealth game, but what if we removed everything that makes stealth games fun? Or, you know, functional? And the AI isn't much better. They're feeble-minded. I'm talking orc-level dumb, which is canon, I guess, but still. It's like stealth for people who want to feel smart without actually being challenged. And the story? Well, it's Gollum, so you're running errands and muttering to yourself, which is kind of great for immersion, I guess, but it's also really boring. I started to feel bad for Gollum halfway through, not because of his tragic backstory, oh no, but because he's stuck in this game. Yeah, I guess the scariest part of this game isn't the orcs or the dark tunnels, it's knowing that you actually spent money on it.
Another game that you might be sad if you spent real money on is Alekhine's Gun. A game that so badly wants to be Hitman, but ends up feeling like an off-brand action figure called Hit Person. You play as a rogue KGB agent, which sounds good on paper, but in execution, it's actually kinda not that great. Right off the bat, the game gives you cool classic spy equipment like chloroform, knives, disguises, and a complete lack of polish. The AI is the real star of the show. They can be so oblivious to what's around them or hear every little beat your heart makes from 2 rooms over. For instance, sometimes the guards can hear you performing a silent takedown, and when they catch you in the act of your naughty objective, you whip out your pistol to take care of business just to find that the gunplay is possibly the worst part of the entire game. The developers actively punish you for even trying to use your gun, which I know it's a stealth game and you're not supposed to use your gun, but it's there for a reason. The aim is so floaty that it feels like you're trying to steer a rickety old boat in a storm instead of holding a firearm. It's just such a mess, but it's the kind of mess that you could potentially get a few laughs out of. Sure, it's bad, but it's the kind of bad that makes you appreciate good stealth games and how hard a legit stealth game is to get right. Sometimes you just have to salute the effort and then uninstall it. So what we've learned tonight are stealth games are really hard to get right. It's not all about sneaking and stabbing, it's about creating tension, delivering satisfaction, and making you feel like the smartest guy in the room. And when a game in this genre misses the mark, it tends to crash and burn pretty hard, or sometimes jumps out of a dumpster and does the moonwalk while holding a Whopper. These games have definitely seen a decline over the past probably decade. Hopefully new games like the new Metal Gear Solid coming out will revitalize the genre and get people interested in sneaking around again. Kind of how the new Silent Hill 2 remake brought the series to an entire new generation of gamers. And speaking of Silent Hill 2, click here to watch me figure out which is the greatest spooky game of all time, Silent Hill 2 or Resident Evil 4. Thanks for watching, liking, and or subbing if you did, and I'll see y'all in the next video.